Hello and welcome back to Faceless Security, where we explore the world of technology and cybersecurity. In this video, we'll be discussing the different types of legal, regulatory frameworks and investigations that apply to information security. Information security is a critical concern for organizations of all sizes, and it's important to understand the legal and regulatory frameworks that apply to the protection of sensitive information. These frameworks include administrative, criminal, civil, regulatory, and industry standards, and they each provide different levels of protection and enforcement for information security. Administrative frameworks. Administrative frameworks are typically established by government agencies and are used to regulate information security in a specific industry or sector. These frameworks typically involve the establishment of rules, guidelines, and best practices for information security, and they may include provisions for enforcement, such as fines or penalties for non-compliance. Criminal frameworks. Criminal frameworks provide for criminal penalties for individuals and organizations that engage in illegal activities related to information security, such as hacking, theft of sensitive information, and cybercrime. These frameworks are typically established by national governments, and they are enforced by law enforcement agencies. Civil frameworks. Civil frameworks provide for civil remedies for individuals and organizations that are affected by information security incidents, such as data breaches. These frameworks may include provisions for compensation, such as damages for lost or stolen information, or injunctions to prevent further harm. Regulatory frameworks. Regulatory frameworks are typically established by government agencies and are used to regulate information security in specific industries, such as finance or healthcare. These frameworks may include provisions for compliance, such as mandatory security controls, reporting requirements, and penalties for non-compliance. Industry standards. Industry standards are typically established by trade associations and are used to establish best practices for information security within a specific industry. These standards may include provisions for compliance, such as mandatory security controls, and they may also provide guidelines for best practices and standards of care. Investigations are a critical component of information security, and they are used to determine the cause of security incidents, evaluate the effectiveness of security measures, and identify opportunities for improvement. However, each type of investigation requires a different set of skills, resources, and techniques, and it's important to understand the requirements for each type of investigation. Some of the key types of investigations in information security include administrative investigations, commonly carried out by government agencies, focus on assessing an organization's adherence to pertinent laws and regulations concerning information security. Such inquiries typically revolve around the examination of policies, procedures, and the evaluation of security controls. In the context of administrative investigations, the emphasis is on non-criminal probes into employee misconduct or actions. Consequently, the collection and handling of evidence, documentation, and reporting are not as critical as in other types of investigations. Criminal investigations, carried out by law enforcement agencies, aim to establish if crimes, particularly those linked to information security like hacking or theft of sensitive data, have occurred. Such investigations entail gathering and scrutinizing evidence, as well as identifying and apprehending suspects. In the realm of criminal investigations, the focus centers on allegations of criminal misconduct and breaches of federal, state, or local criminal codes. The procedural emphasis lies in meticulous evidence collection to build a case that can be presented in court. Civil investigations. Civil investigations are typically conducted by private individuals or organizations that are seeking compensation for damages related to information security incidents, such as data breaches. These investigations typically involve the collection and analysis of evidence and the presentation of a case in court. A civil investigation helps uncover and assemble the information needed for a civil trial. Regulatory investigations. Regulatory investigations are typically conducted by government agencies to determine whether an organization is in compliance with relevant regulations related to information security. These investigations typically involve the review of policies and procedures and the assessment of security controls. These investigations often take the form of external, mandatory audits and are focused on evaluating security controls and compliance. The board must ensure that reasonable compliance and information and reporting systems are in place, so that if something does go wrong, it will be handled appropriately. A regulatory investigation is conducted by a regulating body, such as the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, against an organization suspected of a violation. Incident investigations. Incident investigations are used to determine the cause of a security incident, assess the impact of the incident, and identify opportunities for improvement. These investigations typically involve collecting and analyzing data from a range of sources, such as logs, network traffic, and system images. Forensic investigations. Forensic investigations are used to provide evidence in legal proceedings, and they require a high level of technical expertise and a thorough understanding of evidence preservation and analysis techniques. These investigations typically involve collecting and analyzing data from digital devices, such as computers and mobile phones. Penetration testing. Penetration testing is used to evaluate the security of an organization's systems and networks, and it involves simulating a real-world attack to identify vulnerabilities and assess the effectiveness of security measures. These investigations typically involve using a range of tools and techniques to identify and exploit vulnerabilities. Electronic discovery. Electronic discovery is the process of collecting, reviewing, and producing electronic information for use in legal proceedings related to information security. These investigations typically involve the collection and analysis of electronic data, such as emails, documents, and system logs. Electronic discovery or e-discovery. This is the gathering of electronic data such as email, instant messaging, and social media data for an investigation, which could be an administration, criminal, civil, or regulatory. The primary purpose in this type of investigation is to preserve the original data and metadata related to the required information. Industry standards. Industry standards are typically established by trade associations and are used to establish best practices for information security within a specific industry. These standards may provide guidelines for the conduct of investigations, and may also include provisions for compliance, such as mandatory security controls. Understanding various legal and regulatory frameworks related to information security helps organizations comply with applicable laws, safeguard sensitive information, and prevent security threats. Additionally, grasping the investigation requirements in information security enables organizations to possess the essential skills, resources, and techniques for conducting effective investigations and mitigating risks linked to security incidents. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more great content from Faceless Security.